in Bergen for the Hole in the Sky Festival, and we had the opportunity to speak to Michael from Season of Mist Records based in France. We've just seen Cynic playing downstairs, who are a recent addition to the label. So welcome to Norway.
Thank you.
Now we'll start with right now what just happened. Cynic are a band who reformed, and possibly one of the few bands who really had the need to reform, and you got them. So how does some little heavy metal kid from France end up running a label that picks up a legendary band like Cynic?
Well, it took 15 years basically, so it's just a step-by-step job from starting like I was a writer in a very small magazine back then called Decibel Storm, and I started booking gigs in 1992.
What was the first gig you booked?
Samel.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah, second one was Coroner, so we started with Swiss.
Okay, yeah.
I went step by step, built the label when I was a student in '95, had my first release and decided to do it professionally, like when I finished my studies in '99, built the label, signed Mayhem in 2001 and worked my way up from there.
Now, Season of Mist had been around for a short while, and then you managed to get Mayhem. Now, I remember at the time, a lot of people were speculating about what label Mayhem had signed to. Of the bigger labels, there was of course the typical ones, and smaller labels. At the time, it looked like Hammerheart Records was going to become a big player.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'd heard some whisperings that Hammerheart were going to get them. Then you got them.
Yeah.
How did you manage that?
Well, story is history now, but it was like a huge poker bet on my side. It was. I didn't know the Mayhem guys at all. There was French guys from a band called Seth. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
They were friends of mine, and they were in Oslo at Elm Street, and they gave me a phone call and said, okay, there's Necro Butcher from Mayhem next to me, and I told them, okay, now you go to him, you pass him over the phone. And well, the guy didn't know me from Adam nor Eve, he'd never heard about me before, and I told him, okay, if you get plane tickets in your mailbox in 48 hours, are you going to come down to Marseille to visit me this weekend? The guy was a bit shocked at first, and then he said, okay, I like guys who have balls, I'll come down. You went down to Marseille, we negotiated, and we signed him.
And that was, I mean, that was the release of Grand Declaration of War. Mayhem had come back with Wolf's Lair, Abyss and Misanthropy, but
yeah.
So that was, I mean, that was like a semi-comeback, you could say. Grand Declaration of War was the real album comeback.
Mm-hmm.
Before you would sign Mayhem, or before you released Grand Declaration, how many albums had you released?
26.
Mayhem
was number 27.
Okay, and what was your biggest selling album to that point?
I think it was Bloodthorn.
And that did?
Maybe 5,000-6,000 by then.
And then Mayhem obviously opened things up much more.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so is the success of Season of Mist now down to Mayhem, or is it the other way around? In a way.
I think I owe a lot to Mayhem. I mean, Mayhem took really a big chance working with me. I promised them money that I didn't have. I basically had to sell everything that I had to live up to the promise that I made.
Including your soul?
Including everything. My soul to the devil, my ass, and whatever you name it. No, basically I had to really to step up to live up to the promise that we made, and we had to, well, in a way we proved ourselves to the band, because it was only a one album deal that we had. Okay. And we fulfilled what we promised, and the band kept on working with us until that day when now we became friends, and I mean, it's very hard to gain their trust. And I think we have it, because we've been working for almost 10 years now. Yeah. So it was a stepping stone for us. I owe that band a lot, and I really know it. So even though we have now bigger bands on the label, that sells more records than Mayhem, they will still be my #1 priority, because I owe them. I owe them. Yeah. Just put it this way, I owe them. On the other hand, they don't have to complain, because I lived up to what I promised. So I gave them what I promised them, and we really helped the band, and when there was even like some situations, we helped them out. It was, yeah, we did a lot for them too. So that's why it's like, yeah, good business relation. So worked together really well.
You gave them an offer they couldn't refuse, and
it was, no, I mean, labels like Nuclear Blast or Eureka back then could have paid the money, but we paid them. It was not only about the money, it was about the guts. Yeah. It was really about the attitude that I had with them, and they appreciated that. And Mayhem is one of those bands that didn't want to go on a big label because they wanted to be an absolute priority. They wanted to be sure that if they were calling me at midnight on a Sunday, there would be someone to pick up the phone. And well, at that time I had to do that too. Yeah.
But now you've come to the point where, like, the label has grown a lot over the past 10 years, and it's it's one of the labels that's kind of come out from the let's say the second or third, whatever generation.
Yeah.
It's grown to a very big and steady label. So now you've got bands like Cynic. You've got some new signings, but I don't know if you can mention.
Yeah, well, Ginger Escape Plan is official already. So
okay.
That's like, well, what happened recently is that Norway has been my playground for a few years. We had a lot of Norwegian bands, but then since like 2 or 3 years, labels and musical structures in Norway started to get organized with tuba and indie, which are really doing a good job. So it's only a natural process that they are signing the Norwegian band, and that we're not anymore. So we had to find another playground, and we went to fight in the US. And we got bands like, well, Cynic was the first one, Atheist the second one, Danger Escape Plan, and now we have signed Morbid Angel. Right, so that's and Ace Freely for Europe. So that's our new. I mean, we still keep our Norwegian roots because we still have like Shitliv, Orgehal, Mayhem, of course. Yeah. But now we're stepping up in the US, where, well, also in the US, kids are not downloading as much as in Europe.
That's the case.
Yeah, CD sales are still very not as dead as they are over here.
Okay. So that's one thing I wanted to bring up as well. Because you're a relatively new label, so you didn't really get to experience the
golden age.
Right, yeah. And but you've done quite well. But the whole change in the CD market has affected everybody, including See the Mist. So
yeah.
Is it something that you think you can live with, or is it something you have to adapt to very specifically in order to evolve?
I mean, nobody's planning on an evolution anymore. I was talking with Simon from Melblade, who's here as well, and basically everybody's bracing themselves to survive the next 2 or 3 years. Yeah. We are convinced that when this industry is going to die, because it is dying, when this industry is going to die, our job will still exist one way or another, because there's always been, whether it was called the Messina back in the Middle Age, or there's always been a producer, there's always been managers, because most artists cannot manage themselves. So we are still relevant. We're not. Our job's not a dead one. But right now the problem is that there's no money coming into music anymore. So when this is going to really be dying, there's going to be big talks between the Microsofts, the big internet suppliers, and Hollywoods and the music industry about finding new source of income for everybody.
So you think it's going to be a case that everybody's going to come together and find a common
solution?
But
I mean, it has to come from political. It has to come from a political level, and they will only react when everybody's really dying. So everybody's now is like playing safe, very, very safe. We're not signing any new bands or any new acts, which is our job.
Yeah.
Which is our job. Our job is to find new talent and develop them, but we can't do that anymore. We just sign established acts, try to make the money back, pay our employees, and try to be one of the survivors in 2 or 3 years when the situation will be clearer and we know where we're going. Yeah. Because right now we just don't. And I cannot imagine the whole industry is going to die because music is too important for mankind. Yeah. And whether it's metal or whatever.
And the point you made that a lot of artists they're artists and not businessmen, so there's always going to be a need for people who understand that side of things to kind of take care of them.